What's up, peoples? What's going on? I'm just sitting here embracing the fact that I can sit inside my own bus. It's something that, I don't know, it's such a good feeling. You know that anything could happen with your house, anything could happen with your bus too, but this might be my new spot for doing videos, I really like it. I've got this, this is my bed area behind me, but I have this shelves right here, which I just made out of shelf fungus. You know those shelf fungus that you see growing off of big-ass trees. Well, if you live in the Pacific Northwest, the Douglas firs, you'll see dead and live trees carrying these shelf fungus. They're just huge sometimes. And I won't go out and destroy them and rip them off the trees. These were already fallen, but they just make epic shelves. Pretty cool. So I sat down to make a video, and I turned on my camera, and I had a point, something that I actually wanted to discuss, and then, I got on a tangent talking about these awesome shelves. Then I heard something, and I got distracted. That's kind of what life is. It's just one distraction after another, It's raw, unedited distraction. And all we're trying to do, is find something that really moves us. And I think that's why this bus experience for me came at such a great time, when so many other things I was having, issues with in life. And to just find one thing that I could focus my time and energy on when I had it, it really, I have a lot of time to think about being human, like all of us, and some of us choose to ignore that, and some of us choose to embrace that. And over the years, I've spent a lot of time wondering, I guess it's existentialism, if you will. Whatever, we have to have labels. I hate labeling things, but it's the only way we can define what we're talking about. But, kind of the philosophy of existence itself, if you will. And I knew to just let it go years ago. But I knew also if I didn't delve into it to see what it was all about, then I'd always wonder, So it's kind of like looking around to see what buffets life has to offer, what information life has to offer, read a lot of books, watch a ton of videos. I mean, I remember back in around 2011 to 2013, I was really into information. I mean, I was absorbing constant, and before that, of course, too, all the way back into the late 90s when I was first getting into the conspiracy and UFO stuff big time, and reading all the books and all the info. And then once the internet came around, looking at all the evidence, then finding out about how much of the evidence was crap, and kind of concluding my own opinions that things are much more complex and difficult, to know what's really going on. But my point there is that there's that novelty and excitement of, that kind of research, UFOs, conspiracies, whatnot, where you're discovering something new and exciting, but, excuse me. But over the years, I've gone different ways, lost interest in that, and moved on to completely different things. And it's strange to look back on our lives, and kind of wonder, how did we get to where we are today? But thinking too much, as I was saying, which is what I should stick on the main point there. When people say don't think too much, the more information you absorb, the more you're thinking. I went from that conspiracy stuff to being into more of like, enlightened type Eastern mysticism and whatnot, and I was fascinated with that stuff for a while. And now I haven't let anything go. I've just incorporated it all into my existence, into what I consider to be life. I've put it all into something that works for me. And I am watching the world change around me, even since, let's say, I started YouTube 6-7 years ago when I started uploading videos, how much YouTube has changed and the internet's changed around the platform. How much we as people are starting to react to each other differently online and elsewhere. It just seems like we're living in a, it's sad, we're living in a delusional bubble, but at the same time we need more delusional bubbles because we're thinking too much, if you know what I mean. One of the problems that we have isn't that we don't have enough knowledge. It's that there's too much to choose from, and it's hard for us to assimilate it all. But more than that, it's hard for us to even choose what to be interested in. It's not about how much you know or how much research you have or do or how much knowledge you have in your life. It's more about how you apply it. What does it do for you? How do you use that knowledge to better your life and those around you? And that's what I've found to be important, the things that really move me or help others. But I still find myself being selfish. It's like that human nature shines through no matter what, It's really interesting being a human when you're what I guess what they say, living the examined life, if you will. And the old saying, unexamined life is not worth living. That's basically the notion that if you're not paying attention to who you are and you haven't thought about why you exist, you're wasting time. But I can't really agree with that so much, because a life is a life, regardless of what you do with it. But sometimes the people who examine their lives too much are the ones who end up suffering the most. But we learn that over time too. So then that's a perfect example of how, you may think, I may have thought at one time in my life, okay, if I gain enough wisdom, then maybe I can apply this to, live stress-free, anxiety-free in some state of, awareness. I knew and realized quickly that wasn't the case. There's no enlightened stage that you reach. It's a matter of small satoris or awakenings that you go, oh, aha, aha. But it's not just that. You have to go and revisit it. In other words, you can't say attain Buddhahood or enlightenment in the mountains and then just be enlightened for your whole life. It wouldn't work that way even if you could. You would come back and you'd gradually fall back into your other ways, and that's why practices exist. That's why religions exist and why they have practices that they have, to keep people in that mindset. Because if we don't keep doing something over and over and repeating our patterns, then we don't imprint them, which is a good thing, because we follow too many patterns of others making, but we also need some of our own to be happy in life, and to be successful in being happy and having friends and family and still providing for ourselves and enjoying life. It takes a lot of courage, it really does, and a lot of responsibility, especially if you have kids. Being a father is a difficult job. Being a mother is a difficult job. I can only speak from the father perspective, though. And so the best we can do, the way I see it, is spoil ourselves and find that one thing that we want. And like I said, I'm in this bus. That makes me happy. I'm glad to be fixing it up. I have a lot of work to do in it. I have a lot put into it, but hey, who cares, right? I don't spend money on anything. I'm always a cheapskate. I have a $1,000 car, and before that, I think I had a $2,000 or $3,000 van that I had for like 10 years. I don't spend money because I want to spend it on things that I enjoy, and I don't really have a whole lot of hobbies. And I don't want to waste it on exorbitant guitars and crap. And then the idea of the bus comes along and it works out. Well, there's a lot of things like that in life, and so I just want to say, find your bus, find your excitement, find your motivation, and go for it. And don't slow down and wonder too long, because we all do that. We wait too long and we think, oh, I should have done this sooner. That's okay. That's all part of the game. It's all part of the process. So that's my ramble for this Saturday night, and it is definitely a ramble after a couple bong hits. So I'll talk to y'all soon. Have a happy Easter and April Fool's Day and all that. So take care. I promise I won't upload an April Fool's vid. April Fools, I'm shutting down my channel. Guarantee a whole bunch of people say shit like that every year. Anyway, take care.